So I want to go back to last season and ask you how you guys finished up and how you felt about the season in general.
Well, last year, I mean, it was a challenging year. It always is. One of the positives, one of the positives was the close matches. I think I think we had three matches went to 4-3, and we won all those matches. So the matches that were, obviously the closest that they could be, our guys had enough composure at certain positions to be successful. So I thought that was really, in the end, that's probably the biggest sign of the competitive aspect of it, is how you can perform in the close matches.
Okay. Is that something you think you can carry over to this season?
I think so. Yeah, I think that definitely, because I mean, it's not too black and white with that, because sometimes you can play a match and lose 4-3, but just to get to 4-3 might have been a huge accomplishment.
Right.
You know what I mean, in that sense. But for the most part, 4-3s generally are they're 4-3 for a reason. That it definitely could have gone either way.
Right.
And so, hopefully we can continue that. That's a really good point.
Okay. So did you guys lose a lot of players from last season's starting lineup? I mean, was there a lot of turnover this year?
We lost one. Nick Lopez,
okay,
who played #1 singles and #1 doubles. So although we just lost one, it was quite a big loss in terms of affecting the ladder, because of the way tennis works. Everybody moves up a spot, and everybody has to play at a higher position than they were used to playing, and obviously that means they're playing more challenging opponents. So that has that can have a big impact on the ladder.
Okay. Who did you gain this year?
We brought in, we have a couple transfers actually for this year.
Okay.
One of them is from UC Santa Barbara. His name is Adam Luba, but due to the conference rules, he's not eligible to play this year. He has to sit out.
Okay.
But we have a transfer also from Fresno State, Hugo Verdi 14, and we definitely expect him to help our team.
Okay. Where do you think he'll step in?
Well, we've had one preseason tournament so far, coincidentally, where he went to school at Fresno State last weekend, and I think based on what I've seen early on, he seems to hopefully, I think, help us in the doubles.
Okay.
And then singles-wise, I think he can help us there as well. But like everyone, he has a long way to go in terms of making progress and everything that goes into doing that.
Okay. What kind of player is he?
He's more of an attacking player,
Is he? Okay.
and he's got one of the better, certainly one of the nicest service motions, and potentially one of the best serves for sure on the team. But again, he's got to work at it consistently to make it a real strength of his. He's more of an aggressive player. That's why he's definitely a little more suited for doubles. But it doesn't rule out his chance to play singles. He has a lot of passion and enthusiasm for it. So for tennis, so it's a good influence on the team.
So out of the players that are returning from the starting lineup, who are you looking to step up into maybe a #1 singles role, or just to give the team a boost at any position?
That's a good question. All of them. All of them.
Okay.
Toki Sherbakov has played #1 before. He actually was playing #1 at the beginning of last year. Until he tore his hamstring.
Okay.
And he actually, when he did tear his hamstring, he was actually beating, at that point, a guy who was ranked 56th in the nation, a player from Romania who goes to, who's on the team at University of Idaho. So Toki was playing the best, definitely the best he's ever played, but that was that makes the injury that much more, just frustrating for him, I'm sure, and for everybody on the team, because it happened when he was playing his best.
Okay.
But Connor Coates is somebody else as well. We expect to again, hopefully to progress. He played doubles last year with Nick Lopez, and they had a national ranking in doubles, which was really amazing. And they were ranked on for two different ranking periods, so they stayed in there. And then also we have a senior, Chris Aria, who we're hoping to definitely finish on a strong note, and then a sophomore, Kyle Miller, who he actually had a strong freshman season last year. It's really tough to I've never found anybody as a freshman who's been able to perform solidly and consistently over the course of the year because of that transition from high school and more than anything, just the living situation. And yet he was able to perform and play solidly against, especially overcoming several of his opponents in our team matches, the international players, the foreigners, and that's a big step forward to be able to beat those international players because they have a different type of experience. They're more patient, and they are typically older, and they're just more savvy. And so for Kyle to get through those matches as a freshman, that it gives him a lot of hope.
Okay. So do you have a lineup set in your mind or set down on paper possibly?
No, not really. No. I mean, certainly Sherbakov, Coates, Miller, even Arya, and possibly Verdi 14 would be people who I would presume would be we were counting on. But one person who's definitely picked it up lately has been Josh Albert. Josh Albert's also a senior, and he has some really good double skills. And he's coming along in singles as well, and hopefully he'll continue that continue his progress.
So what are your expectations for this team this year, at least in the conference? Do you hope to win the conference or top four? Or?
Yeah, I think with the conference, I think certainly trying to take care of business, so to speak, against I think one of the teams that we've been close with initially. This is our 5th year in the conference, so is UC Riverside. But it is a big challenge against the majority of the rest. It's an extra challenge because of the international influence into tennis. I mean, we do have we have Hugo obviously on our team who's from Canada, but again, a lot of these teams, for example, University Pacific, they don't have any Americans in their ladder.
Okay.
And again, just as I mentioned earlier, the challenges that presents are extra. Cal Poly has a handful of international players, ironically, as a state school, but obviously they have plenty of funding in order to draw those players in. And UC Santa Barbara as well. Again, they've traditionally had a very strong team, and rarely do they. Last year may have been an exception, and they didn't finish as high when they had more Americans in their ladder. Typically, in the past, they'll have no more than 1 or 2 Americans in their ladder, and I remember a couple years ago their American was at the last spot at number 6.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really on us to progress. It's a good place to be, though, I think, because it's on us to improve, and although being the underdog, it's a good position to be in, to be able to knock off some of these teams. But to answer your question about where do you expect to finish and all, to expect to finish high would be, given where we are resources wise in relation to the other teams, would be unfair.
Okay.
It'd be unfair to anybody. So it's not.
What would you say will be the strongest part of the lineup this year?
Good question. It's hard to say that. It's really early.
Yeah.
But in the past, our success has for the most part, been around the depth of the team, and so I'm certainly hoping to get back, get back to that and to capitalize on the depth of the team, because of course the top of the ladder is always a challenge to try to excel there. I mean, we did excel there incredibly well one year, but or 3 years at the top, but we had it's a special player back then we had, but generally the depth, and hopefully progressing in the doubles, and if we if the guys at the top can obviously improve as well, they'll have a really good chance.
Okay.